After 6 years of radio silence, fitness legend Richard Simmons has begun posting videos to his YouTube channel to help people cope during the coronavirus. The content is not new. A few years ago, when I first told this story for Scranton Story Slam in 2017, Simmons had just come out of the woodwork long enough to deny the rumor he was transitioning into Fiona. Not that he thought that there was anything wrong with that. It was good that his fans finally got to hear from him. People were worried. A whole podcast series was made about his disappearance from the public eye. Simmons may not have transformed into a female, but he was all about transforming people's lives. He changed mine. Not in the I've been inspired to eat better, start exercising, and lose weight kind of way, but in a once upon a time he told a story on public radio that changed the course of my destiny kind of way. It's 1994, 5 months after college graduation. I'm living in a one-bedroom apartment in the middle of nowhere NEPA with my sister, Stacy. We work at Twin Rocks Truck Stop Restaurant off I-84, and I'm trying to save money to move to New Orleans. I have this idea in my head that I'm going to live in the French Quarter and write plays like Tennessee Williams. Yeah, I'm that cool. And so when I hear Richard Simmons, candy stripes, shorts, sweating to the oldies star, confess to Terry Gross on Fresh Air that the thing he's most ashamed of is stealing dozens of baby Jesuses from various locations around his hometown, coincidentally New Orleans, and hiding them under his high school bed. It's like the world stops spinning. I was never exactly a juvenile delinquent, but I had some pretty sharp edges. Could it be that Richard Simmons is more of a badass than me? I haven't stolen any baby Jesuses. Not one. I'm obsessed with this story. I repeat it to anyone who will listen, and I vow to swipe at least one swaddled infant. It's November, so this can happen. But I'm all talk. I can't overcome the inertia from being a basically good person to becoming a thief. Enter Lad. That's what the truck-driving brothers who had taken Michael under their wing call him. Mike moved to our neck of the woods from Southern California to escape addiction and other demons after his dad died. For now, he's staying with his Uncle Sam, who lives next door to one of these truck-driving brothers, who just so happens to be a regular at Twin Rocks. They get Mike a job at the gas station / garage end of the truck stop, and soon they're all coming into the restaurant together. My first impression of Mike is that he smiles a lot. He still licks his lips habitually, even though he has supposedly kicked the meth. He laughs like there is no place he'd rather be than right here, right now. That lad would be kind of cute if he wasn't hanging around with those creepy perverts, I say to my sister, thinking he might be a good match for her. He's only 19. So one afternoon, Stacy and I are sitting around our basement apartment, bored out of our minds, and I dare her to call the younger, single one of the truck-driving brothers and tell him to bring Lad over. We leave a message on his answering machine. Yep, 1994, no cell phones. No idea where they are or when they'll get the message. I go hang out with a friend from high school. She has a pool table and beer. Aaron and Mike show up at the apartment while I'm gone. Aaron's drunk and stoned on something. Mike isn't much of a drinker, so he and Stacy melt candles together to make new candles. We probably didn't even have a TV. Until I call asking for a ride home. The three of them come to get me in Stacy's 1971 Dodge Dart Swinger. The car is a work in progress. Sweet pea green with one black door and a teal trunk. And in my family, when we drink, we sing. So we've got Elvis's Blue Christmas playing on cassette. Santa, bring my baby back to me. Which reminds me of Richard Simmons and the baby Jesuses. I tell them how I vowed to steal one, and then Mike volunteers. I'll do it. I'm not sure he means this to be a romantic gesture, but man, am I impressed. Oh my God, would you really steal a baby Jesus for me? We're driving down some country back road when we see it. a manger glowing on a hill at the top of someone's driveway. Stacy pulls over. Mike runs up the hill, unplugs the baby, and brings it back to the car, cradle and all. We drive off with Jesus in our laps, me and him in the back seat, and I don't know if it's the adrenaline or the alcohol, but we're making out before we make it back to the apartment. Mike and I disappear into the bedroom and leave my poor sister alone with Aaron, who passes out on the couch. 3 months later, I'm pregnant with my first daughter. Electric Jesus turned out to be some hell of a fertility charm. We keep him plugged in under the Christmas tree that winter, finally returning him to the owners at Easter time in a paper bag left at the bottom of their driveway. Shortly after that, we moved to Tucson so I can have the baby someplace warm. Mike would have gone to New Orleans with me, but Stacy isn't interested, and I'm afraid to move without her. I mean, I barely know this kid, Lad, my baby's father. Mike doesn't say he loves me until the day Miranda is born. We get married when she turns 1 and later agree to give her a sister, Frances, who we name after Mike's late father. Mike and I will be together 7 years before we get divorced, just a few years after we move back to Pennsylvania to raise the girls, here, where my family is from. Upon closing his Beverly Hills exercise studio in 2016, Richard Simmons said, "I will take the time for myself to be the best I can be, and so should you." That advice brought up a lot of memories. Mike wouldn't let me have time for myself, as it turned out, and I learned the best I could be wasn't going to be with him. It's okay. Despite our spectacular beginning, he was not intended to be the love of my life. He did give me my children and a few good stories, and if I've learned anything from Richard Simmons, it's that stories have the power to change lives.